Writing is about, there's a million choices that would all work, but you have to choose one. If you don't choose one and commit to it, nothing actually ever gets on the page. I always knew I wanted to be in theater. I was an actor for the first half of my career. I went to acting school, and then I was, everybody who got sitcoms was doing stand-up, so I started doing stand-up, and I did stand-up for a couple years, and I was greatly pregnant, doing stand-up late at night. Usually I would get the 2 o'clock slot because I was not that good, and it was like people could smoke at bars, and here I am out late at night. And my last time doing stand-up, I'm at the edge of this stage ready to go on, and a woman at a table right near the edge goes to me, "Honey, shouldn't you be home?" And I went out and I was like, shouldn't I be home? And that was the last time I did stand-up, but I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do plays. What am I going to do? And so I wrote 2 plays while I was pregnant, my first 2 plays, really out of terror that I would never get to do theater again. And I realized that I loved it. I got to perform in my first play I wrote, which was an hour long, when I was like 5 months pregnant. And then, and then I was hooked. And I had a really lucky string of events where I met Marcia Norman at a playwriting conference, and she invited me to Juilliard, which it would never have happened if I had just sent her my play. I had 1 full-length play at that point, and so that pretty much changed my life. Yeah, I know. I was very lucky. You need to be very lucky. I guess, people would probably say magical realism, which I'm not really. All about a comedy. They're almost all comedic. They almost all are asking about like looking for salvation, and whether you do it with faith or you do it with science. I think I write a lot of plays where science and faith bump up against each other uncomfortably, including in this play, really in all my plays. A lot of science. I write a lot of science plays. I wrote a play about the genome, science, and about the headlines. Like I wrote "Leveling Up" is about when they were recruiting gamers to fly drones, and they discovered these 20-year-old gamers were getting worse PTSD than actual combatants. Or Informed Consent is about now that we can know a lot about our past and our future through our genome, how much should we know, and who gets to decide what we know. Most of my plays ask kind of big questions based on scientific breakthroughs. I think part of it is that I was an actor. I make my students listen to actual dialogue and then write it down verbatim, because you never really understand how people, like I'm just doing right now, how you start a sentence but you go somewhere else with it to make your point. It doesn't, speech is very rarely linear. It comes around. But then I think theater language is heightened. Then you have to take out everything that's not essential, that's not the elephant, carve away everything that doesn't belong there. I like my plays to be really streamlined, ultimately. But you can never expect somebody to say exactly what they mean. Also, every line of dialogue has to do 2 things. The character has to, at least 2 things, because there's always subtext. The character is trying to pursue something, the character is trying to say something, and the character is trying to make an impression on the person they're talking to. And nobody knows what they're going to say until they say it. Or we wouldn't say most of the things we say. So if like you're juggling 3 things at once, then the dialogue is usually alive. You have to be chained to the chair. That's really the only thing. No, the only thing that gets me to write is crazy, scary deadlines. So a couple weeks ago, I have been working for a year on this commission, and I have not been able to write it. And I had another play that's about Shakespeare's young women all meeting in the woods and solving their boy trouble together. Like Ophelia gets pulled out of the river and they take Juliet's poison from her. And I could not finish either of those plays. And I have a friend down in Florida who has a theater who said, come down, I can get money if we do both plays in this week. And so we madly rehearsed both plays. Both plays were in a mess. And because I knew I was going to have a reading at the end of the week for both plays, I wrote like my hair was on fire. I slept 2 to 3 hours a night. I would write till 3 in the morning, then sleep for 3 hours, and then get up and madly write again, and then go to rehearsal and get inspired by amazing actors, and then go do it again. And that's how I write, with my hair on fire. Otherwise, there's so many, because writing is all about making decisions. Writing is about, there's a million choices that would all work, but you have to choose one. If you don't choose one and commit to it, nothing actually ever gets on the page. So it's torture for me. I mean, it took us, my husband and I, 11 years to decide what color to paint our living room. And then we hate it. We just don't like, it's like lavender. What were we thinking? But that's what writing is like. It's like torture, but you have to make a decision after decision after decision. So unless I'm going to be humiliated at the end of the week, I can't write. Yeah, so the play I'm writing, that's the sequel to Be Here Now. It takes place one town over in Millerville. And I fell in love online with this woman, Monica Galeano, who's this plant scientist. She does research about the consciousness of plants and how plants can think and learn. And I was obsessed with it. Really, it was so hard to stop researching to actually write this play. So it's about this woman who lives in a treehouse, and she's doing like Monica's experiments online. She's like, she doesn't like to be around people. She's in her 70s or 60s, and she's doing all this stuff online. And she says all these weird little things like, I'll lift you up. She does this thing where she drops the plane, I'll lift you up. And all of a sudden, there's weird comments on the thing. And one day she wakes up and there's like hundreds of people camped out outside her treehouse, and they decided she's sort of the Messiah. They've decided she is their savior. And then she learns that online her little thing, her memes have gone viral, and there's millions of them, and now she has to get rid of these people. So that's what the new play's about. It's kind of a strange little play, but there's so much in it I love. You know, that's the thing, is I fall in love with some scientific idea, and then you really have to distill it. Or, you know, Informed Consent was 300 pages long when I first wrote it. So to get it down to 90 pages, so it has no intermission, means there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of sap before you had to boil down before you got that maple syrup. Tell you the truth, there's this new group on Facebook of women over 40 who are playwrights, who have sort of, you know, there was the Marcia Norman generation where they were sort of fought and fought and fought and won. And then there's the new generation of emerging playwrights where everybody wants to do their work. They're young and they're hip and they're sexy and they're the people you want to do. And I feel like the women in those like 20 years in between need to be heard. We're an aging society. We have stories to tell. I think those are the people I want to get produced now, myself included. But I know loads of phenomenal playwrights who just haven't been heard. And who goes and sees theater? It's women in their 40s and up. So give them stories to hear. They're hungry for it.